Family, good day to you. Welcome to your next episode of Financial Freedom. I am Derek Brown, your accompaniment on this journey, and thank you for joining us. As always, I really have to thank you all for watching. This entire thing started on March 19th, 2020, where we went from one episode, I believe it was called Pastoring in a Pandemic, and after 10 million views, we expanded to over 30 to 35 shows that makes up a lot of the Hope TV roster. Without you, we wouldn't be here. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for your time. If you get a chance, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We want to see what you think. Also, keep in mind that we're on various platforms as well, all under this one handle, The Hope TV. One word, all caps, at The Hope TV. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for giving us a chance to be on this journey with you toward financial freedom. We have hit a milestone here. We are doing our first recap episode. We have had so many juicy moments on this show that we decided that we wanted to go back and look at them again. So everybody from Dominique to Giste, and his talking about how legislation affected some of our financial freedom decisions and how it still impacts us to this day, to Carlton Curry II, who gave us a nice little juicy tidbit about paying back our student loans, to Michelle Alexander, who actually did financial women's empowerment and actually helped a lot of women dealing with domestic violence to get financially ready to go back out into the world again. We have some good stuff on here. So take a moment and sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Recap. Family, if you're like me, you watch through Facebook. If you want to, please go back and look at those previous episodes. Just scroll the Hope TV page until you find them and enjoy the episode. Trust me, you're gonna want to get some of the tips that we put together on this page in the whole episode format. With that being said, enjoy. Carlton, you actually represent something that we were just talking about on our last show with Miss Paula Watts.
Okay.
She's with the Atlanta Small Business Association, and one of her main points was that a key way for us to deal with creating a financial base for many African Americans is ownership and real estate. How do you feel about that?
Oh my God, I agree wholeheartedly. So just to give you a little background, I was in banking 5.5 years, so 5 years, 7 months to be
Mhm.
exact. I left banking August
Gotcha.
25th of 2019. And the reason I left banking because I pursued real estate full time. So I'm a full-time real
Right.
estate developer and investor. So I've been doing real estate
Okay.
investing and developing about 2 years. So right here in Atlanta alone, I own a minimum of 20 million in property just alone here in Atlanta.
Wow.
And I also have building
Wow.
6 townhome communities in Houston, Texas. So when I tell you, that's very vital to what you said about owning the land in which was ours in the beginning. Don't get me started now.
Look now, look. I might let you go too. I might let you go on that.
And so that's
Right.
how you kind of look at the bank. But you want to make sure when you're 65, you're still good. So that's kind of like
Hmm.
where I'm at with it. I say that to say, if I'm going to do real estate, that's something that I can buy and flip a home right now. And I look at those type of investments, and with those investments, I can, cash out on those in the next 6 months when I'm buying and flipping those homes. And that's kind of like your right
Right.
now money building. And you want to make sure that you putting that money that you earning, your interest and your principals, you want to make sure that you're putting that in a bank. You want to also make sure that you do have a retirement fund, whether you're working for yourself or for somebody else. You want to make sure that you have that
Mhm.
retirement fund. But you know how the retirement goes and sits there until like you're 60 plus. So that's how that works. You can't become a financial consultant when yours is not in order. You can't do
Look.
nothing without the bank, without that credit. You can't even open up a checking account with bad credit. So
Mm.
it's so
That's
important. Like now, when you think about getting an apartment or a condo or a home or town, whatever the case may be, or car, they're gonna run your credit. So all the ways of license, all your necessities is based off your credit.
mm. So credit is crucial.
credit is everything. It's not the only thing, it's everything.
That's a very different mindset than we've been taught. You're very right. I'm just recalling the conversation that you commented on earlier. You're right. That's a very different mindset than we're
Yeah.
taught. We're not taught to approach them as basically consultants for our dreams. It's go save, put your money here, get a Roth IRA, save for retirement. But we're not taught to be active, engaged, financial. I like to think of myself as my own little independent business. Every little bit of money I get, I am a business owner of that cash.
Yes,
But
yes.
even with that, nobody ever said what you said. Like that just opened up a whole new level of thinking for me. So thank you for that.
During the Great Depression. What you end up having
Mhm.
was run on the banks. For them to for people to have trust back into the banks, they end up passing that act. And what ended up coming out of that act was the Federal Deposit Insurance. Let me see, it was the FDIC basically came out of it. And so what
Okay.
ended up happening, most of your money is insured by the bank, is backed by the federal government. So if anything
Right.
happened to up to $250,000, I think it's $250,000, the bank
I
will be able
believe
to
it
cover
is.
you.
Yeah.
There's $250,000. So when that
Mhm.
act was passed, people, was feeling calm because people were running to the bank. I think almost 4,000 different banks was about to fail during that period, during the Great
Wow.
Depression. So that act was in place all the way up to when Bill Clinton ended up, changing that act during in 1999 because most of the banks saying they couldn't compete globally wise because they couldn't offer enough products.
Where do we start with this financial education? When should we begin? What do you think?
I think at a very early age. I think when they start talking, you start teaching them about certain things like money. Like one of the things is you can give a kid an allowance, and then when they spend the money up, so you have no money. You just start teaching them how to budget and save, and that's one of the things you
Gotcha.
can do at the beginning. And what you do is you implement each stage of their lives. You start giving them different lessons about managing their money. And then once they become a certain age, 18 to 19, like you said, they are fully prepared and ready to go out in this world. Like that old saying, this is the old saying, rather than give them the fish, teach them how to fish.
Right.
I think the system that we're currently in, and this is just my opinion, that we'll always be given something so we don't have to learn anything. Because as soon as we can learn, we're not codependent on you anymore. We don't talk about that area no more like we used to. But our land, I think someone told me from when I was with South DeKalb Business Association, is that the appreciation in our land is it's not moving as fast as it's moving in Buckhead and any other areas. It was moving slow. So we still depend on someone else to bring us and give us our things that we just need for food, water, and shelter almost as well, and for us to
Yeah.
get loans. There's not too many black banks out there where you can turn around and get a loan for a house or for a car. They are the majority at this current moment. But until we can be able to get to that point where we can change that, we'll be okay. But it's gonna take a while. And like I tell everybody, we was in slavery for almost 400 years. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Right. Right. So if I heard you right, it's we need to be more industrial in mindset in coming up with just the essentials. We need to make sure we have black alternatives for the essentials.
Yes, it's just essentials.
We're here in July for March, and this has been a minute, and it's not going away anytime soon. At the same time, I've always just, get prepared, stay prepared, be prepared all the time because they were laying off at many companies before COVID-19. I mean, you
This
look
is true.
online every other day, somebody was laying off 400 workers, 500 workers, 800 workers, closing these stores, closing those stores. We know them all, the Macy's, the car, auto industry,
Right.
all of those things were going away. So when COVID-19 hit, your job was permanently going away. There are some people that will not and do not have a job to go back to. So it definitely affects our community hard because we're still fighting for that battle of equality in wages as well as everything else. So it definitely has had an effect on our community as a whole.
And I'm not even sure how this happened. So maybe you can enlighten me. Maybe you can. I'm not sure. It's kind of off the cuff. Somehow our currency has been affected by COVID-19. And so now we're being prompted to use our debit cards. Digital currency is taking the forefront at this point. When it comes to that, do you think that's also something that's here to stay as far as digital currency? I mean, they talked about Bitcoin a long time ago, different platforms, but it seems like now it's really taking the head.
Yes. Oh, you know what? I really love talking to you. I mean, I really do, because you bring up some really good points that a lot of people may not think about, or they're even interested in and think it doesn't apply to them. You know, of course, debit and credit cards are here to stay. You know, credit and charge cards have been around since the 50s. And in mainstream, debit cards have been around since the 80s, but more widespread in the 90s. So it's still digital currency because there's no money actually exchanging hands. You know, and with these deadly diseases going on, you know, and it's hitting us at a much faster rate, 10 years is around the corner. I remember when the year 2000 hit. Now it's 2020.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you ain't lying about that.
Yeah, so it's going by pretty quickly. So, you know, we want to do less touching. You know, I'm that way now. To be honest, when I leave my house, I have on a mask and gloves. I don't want to touch the pad you touch. I don't want to do any of that. So, so I think
like specifically me, what have I done to you? Seriously. She said, I don't
you
want to
know,
touch nothing you touch. I don't want to touch nothing.
And to be honest, I was already a little nuts about it anyway. So this just put it over the top. So I think this is here to stay. I think this is here to stay. We just have more advanced options now as time has gone on. You know, we have PayPal, we have Square, we have Cash App, we have Swipe to Pay, Zelle. You know, you pay before you leave the house and go to the Amazon store and pick everything up and walk out. Whatever sensors are there, you know, scans your basket. You know, we've seen that online already. And you pay for it because you have this account already online. So you are not even using cash. You know, someone told me a long time ago this was going to be a cashless society. And we're basically there. Okay, so in this climate, when, you know, just about everything down, including some of the resources, you know, I really have to say this first, and knowing that, you know, there may be some backlash, but when it comes to your life, you may just have to leave, you know, because you already don't have any money. So how, and if you're not in control of the money, how do you get in control of it to even have a plan to, you know, to actually make a change? And that can be pretty difficult. See, now I'm thinking of that movie, Sleeping with the Enemy. She made a plan. And I'm quite sure some of people have seen it. It's been a minute. She made a plan. She made a fabulous plan. And I applaud her for that. But you have to do something. So there are still organizations out there that can help in crisis, especially if you've been financially deprived due to domestic violence and you have no place to go. So I volunteered at PADV, and they actually take in women and children. So from there, you'll be able to regain your life and learn life skills such as financial literacy, because that's where I taught a couple of workshops, you know, for the ladies, for group, to get you on the right track. And they help you with job skills as well. So even if you're lacking in some areas, these are places that are here to help you with that. So you do have a place for you and your children to stay safely. And you know, you can help, and even like I said, with job skills to help you get on your feet. And I've seen that done there. And you know, at least that they can help you get access to the training that you may need. So I did learn in volunteer training that it takes a woman basically 8 times to leave that abuser. 8 tries, I should say. And that's a lot. So we're not talking about 8 times over the week or 8 times over the month. This could be 8 times over the lifetime of the situation. So that person could be in that situation for 16 years. And it took 8 times for them to be able to get out.
I did not know that. Just seems like a lot going on.
Well, the fundamentals of it really doesn't change. Because at the end of the day, it's really about managing the money that comes in. At the end, no matter how you get, because you can have multiple streams of income, but if you spend it all, where are you? You know,
Bro, that's where you are.
okay, you are definitely that.
Bro,
I like that. Yes. You know, you still have to manage the money. So there's no real language change about it. It's really where your mindset is. And I tell people all the time, we're just so emotional. We're tied to all of our emotions because we do want the world, and especially for us, you know, we're still trying to prove that we arrived or we can be accepted. I accept myself. I don't need to show you I could drive in any particular car to do that. And I'm not putting anybody down who does. If you want it and you can afford it and you're not sleeping in the street over it, or you can't pay your bills over it, I'm more than happy for you. But there's still a lot of people who are trying to do that and they don't have that kind of money. They don't make that kind of money and they may not get there. One thing, there's nothing wrong with being simple. You know, having a simple life, having, you know, simple things. You know, our great grandparents did it. Our grandparents did it. That's some of the things I learned, you know, from my grandmother. If you save $1 a week, you have $52 at the end of the year. And, you know, back in her time, that would have been a lot.
Fam, I hope you enjoyed our recap episode. Like I said, if you get a chance, you can always go back to our Facebook page or one of the other platforms that we use and look at our old episodes. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you saw something that sparked your interest, and hopefully it prompts you to go watch the episode and do your own research to move towards your own financial freedom. I want to say thank you again for joining us, and there's more to come. Stick with us. Family, as always, be safe out there.
Washington is working really well for the folks who are well connected. But for people in the communities that I serve and people sitting around their kitchen table right now, I don't think it's working well. I still believe in the American dream, but there's a disconnect between the American people and what we're getting in Washington. We're seeing how this is working, and so I would challenge the people of Georgia to try something different. I'm Raphael Warnock, and I approve this message.
No woman wants to be in an abusive situation, but there are many things that keep a woman in a situation because she feels like she has no options.
When you see the devastation this wreaks on women and families, I think for people of good conscience, it's impossible to ignore.
What you're going through, you did not cause any of this, and so you don't take any ownership in that. You don't have to stay stuck where you are.
I lost my voice, but it took 2 or 3 hours of devotional, going to therapy, exercise. You then realize you're not alone. You work and you pray, you'll be successful. And my brother always would tell me, it's like an equation. You got to put it together.
Man up now, man up.
By 16 years old, I was on my own.
Paying for everything?
Paying for the bills. I had a little telemarketing job that I was working at night, going to high school during the day. The emotional attachment that you're supposed to have, the respect you're supposed to have for your family, I never saw it. I think God has really favored me and my wife because we have such a story and we have a testimony that God can heal.
I want to talk to you about the stakes in this election as plainly as I can. If we're going to get this virus under control, get folks back to work, and make sure affordable health care is available for everybody, we've got to send people to Washington who aren't interested in playing political games or making themselves rich. We've got to elect folks who will get to work for people like you. That's why I'm supporting Reverend Raphael Warnock in the special election for Senate. Reverend Warnock's someone I've known for years. He's a man of great moral integrity, a leader in the truest sense of the word. He's spent his life pushing for justice, fighting to expand healthcare, protecting voting rights and the dignity of work. You don't find a lot of people in Washington like Reverend Warnock. And that's exactly why we got to get him there. Please join me in supporting Raphael Warnock for Senate.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I know we can do better. That's why I approve this message.
I'm John Ossoff. Truth is, corruption in Washington has infected both parties. They're too busy serving lobbyists to serve us. I'll ban corporate political donations and secret corporate money in politics. And I'll crack down on price gouging by health insurance and drug companies who use that money to buy off Congress. We're all in this together. Together we can end the corruption and make healthcare affordable. Fighting corruption is my job, and that's why